Best Friends, written by Allison Davis, illustrated by David Prebena. Copyright 1992, Children's Television Workshop. Big Bird and Snuffy were best friends. They played together every morning at preschool. They played pretend with puppets. They played piano, they solved puzzles, and they solved mysteries. When it was time to play dress up, Snuffy and Big Bird always dressed the same. "Howdy, partner," Big Bird would holler to his friend as he galloped by. "Howdy, partner," Snuffy would drawl, tipping his 10-gallon hat. When it was time to line up to go out to the playground, they were partners then too. Big Bird and Snuffy always sat side by side for story time. They traded snacks, and they traded secrets. One day when everyone was lining up to go outside, Ernie ran up to Snuffy and said, "Let's be partners." "Okay," said Snuffy. Big Bird had no partner. He had to go to the end of the line and be partners with Ethel, the teacher. Outside, Big Bird ran to push Snuffy on the swing, but Snuffy said, "I don't need a push, Bird. Ernie is teaching me how to pump. Watch this." Snuffy stretched his legs out straight, and he swung forward, and he bit in his knees, and he swung back. "Swing with us, Big Bird," said Ernie. But Big Bird didn't feel like swinging anymore. Big Bird looked around the playground. Everyone else was busy. There was no one to play with. He trudged back to the steps and sat down. Big Bird didn't even hear Bert ask him if he wanted to play. At story time, Big Bird tried to sit next to Snuffy, but he couldn't. Ernie was already sitting on one side. Harry was on the other. Big Bird tried to scooch up close behind Snuffy, but he sat on Harry's finger by mistake. "Ow!" Harry cried. "Big Bird, dear," said Ethel, "would you please sit back a little? Thank you." Big Bird felt like he was going to cry. "Hi, Bird," said Snuffy, as he sat down beside him at snack time. "Trade you my crackers for your carrots." "No, thanks," said Big Bird. "I'll trade you my apple for your crackers, Snuffy," said Ernie, sliding beside them. "Okay," said Snuffy. Then it was time to go home, and the grown-ups arrived. As Snuffy was leaving, Ernie ran up with a picture he had painted. Big Bird thought it was the most beautiful picture of Snuffy he had ever seen. It had pretty orange flecks in it, just the way Snuffy's fur did. "To Snuffy, from your friend Ernie," read Mrs. Snuffleupagus. Big Bird burst out of the door, and Granny had to hurry to catch up with him. "Wait for me, dearie," she said. "Why, Big Bird, what's wrong?" Big Bird leaned against her shoulder and cried and cried. "Snuffy isn't my friend anymore," he sobbed. "He's Ernie's friend." Then he told Granny everything that happened. "It's hard to share a friend," said Granny, "but Snuffy can be your friend and Ernie's friend. Some things are more fun with three. It just depends." Honk honk! Snuffy and his mommy drove by and waved. "Bye, Bird," called Snuffy. "See you tomorrow, buddy." Granny looked over at Big Bird and smiled. The next day, Big Bird and Snuffy put on a puppet show, but this time they had someone to watch the show. When they went out to play, Ernie and Snuffy showed Big Bird how to pump. "Whee!" yelled Big Bird. "This is fun!" Now, at story time, Big Bird sits on one side of Snuffy, and Ernie sits on the other side. And at snack time, Big Bird and Snuffy and Ernie all share. It's just as Granny said. Some things are more fun when there are three, or four, or more. It just depends.